Running errands. John and Marcia sit in their car, trying to decide where to go for lunch. It's Sunday, so hot dogs are out unless you want to go to the other side of town, he says. Reaching into her purse, she pulls out some coupons. Not necessarily. We've got Billy's Club, Dharma Buns, and gyros over at Kismet, or we can always... And she begins to rummage through her purse. John waits on the edge of the incomplete sentence. The sounds of traffic from the highway flow through the car windows. The rumbles of a passing semi and the muted wail of distant sirens marking the low and high ranges. Someone honks their car's horn as soon as the light turns green, hurrying to get somewhere far less important than they imagine. Marcia stops rummaging, but the pause continues. A clattering shopping cart from the fabric store across the lot strikes a discordant percussion beat, then halts in a metallic crash of cart against cart in the corral. They've been married for 42 years, 3 children, and 6 grandchildren. The pauses come back frequently these days, with both of them contributing their share. He reaches to touch the back of her hand with his. And in the eye blink before Marcia resumes her sentence, John's heart smiles as he thinks how lucky he is to have her. Finding truth. When you're working in the field and you want to know if what your brush just uncovered after days or years of patience is really fossilized bone, touch it to your tongue. If it sticks as its pores absorb your moisture, you can be sure it's truly what you seek. I don't recall when I learned it, this piece of trivial trivia, but it applies as well to a lover's name. Advice column. Dear reader, I understand how that can hurt. Don't wrap your hand around the cup when the contents are hot. Rather, grasp it at a distance by the handle. That's what it's there for, and why it's called a handle. This should prevent those nasty burns, our pain, and your discomfort. Trust me, I learned this long ago from love. Sucker bet. I'll always remember, you say. I'll never forget, you promise. You think so? Care to make a little wager? 10 years from now, you won't recall why we parted. Come 20 and you can't envision me deep inside you in your heart. And in the next 5 heartbeats, you'll start to forget this final kiss. After La Vietnamita, 1990, a sculpture by Enrique Alferez. The fog lifts, perhaps the sun rises, maybe the rain or snow stops. The grandmother, older sister, aunt or mother stops what she's doing, looks around, hears the helicopters coming, rumbling tanks, boots striking the street, beach, rice paddy, scoops up the child and flees. Who? What? Sufficiently answered for the moment, which itself is not one moment any more than endless raindrops are really singular, and there's no time to simply catalog the whens and wheres of now, let alone the past storms forgotten, leaving all the whys excused, ignored, unchallenged, unending. A terrible week here. In so many ways. Our infantry, with armor for support, fought building by building towards the center of the city from 3 sides, forcing most of the enemy out and back to the river. While that's a good thing, oh, so many casualties. So many lives broken or ended, not just combatants, but civilians, from the elderly to their grandbabies. We've dealt with the carnage, pouring all our expertise into lost limbs and gaping chests, but emotionally, I don't think any of us have a snowflake's chance of recovering. During a lull yesterday, Marie and I tried to forget. Sitting on the running board of the ambulance with our needles and balls of yarn, two women like any two women, if far from home and loved ones, in a moment of peace. This morning a sniper got Marie. I'll write again when I can speak past the tears. I would make music once more. When the last sun has fallen, there will be a need for bards to sing dirges and old lullabies to remember lives cut short. I will set down my useless rifle, take my guitar in wearied hands, and play a saint's procession to lead them to our hearts. When the last shell is fired, there will be silence unknown during the years of fighting, and a need to honor it. I will find a whole piano, miraculous in the rubble, and play a gentle melody so babes may peaceful sleep. When the last war is over, there will be no parade to celebrate the peace, no dancing in the streets. I will stand atop my tank and play the violin, a requiem for all that have and has been lost. Elegy. Dig the small grave and place the smaller body so, just so. The chill May rain and the warm human tears falling on her head will serve for the ritual washing of this pup, barely 2 days old. Some future digger after truth, alien or human, kneeling with trowel and brush at this grave, will note in clear, careful script the wonder that a people would be so deliberate with the smallest of their God's creatures and so careless of themselves. Buried in the yard. I told my folks, I said, yeah, I know. You've come a long way, but you can't stay here. I told my sister the same thing. I said, it's our bunker and there's just no room for you. This is what the end of the world has done to us. I'm sorry I had to shoot her cat to make my point. Rose of Jericho. I love with a woman who has earth in her hair. We walk the land together often, searching, seeking seeds and seedlings to take away, to take back as green bricks for the future we have promised to leave the children. I toil with a woman who has skies in her hair, long locks tangled by the breeze that sings while we blacken our hands turning the soil, as we sweat above the fire boiling to be soup, in sunsets changing air to orange and rose. I swim with a woman who has ocean salts and fresh water in her hair, who calls fish to come and feeds the ones we shelter. In the evening she bathes with me, and the river's laughter cleanses us. I love with a woman who has fire in her hair, auburn tresses burning and age smoked as she closes the long day in my arms, as we carry each other forward in dreams, as she calls me to dance with her at dawn. Our lives are elementary. Our life an amalgam of wishes whispered sweetly in an ear, hopes balancing fears with the aid of strength that is the sum of more than parts and partings. This is what romance becomes in the apocalypse. The value of knowledge. Nelson knows a lot, more than many, about the chosen river, about December of 1950. He's there now, once more, again, on this May afternoon, this unseasonably hot, deceivingly beautiful day in a commuter suburb of Chicago. Today we will study Korea, children. The South is our friend, the North no one's comrade. Yes, I know. Love one another. Please don't ever forget those words, even if you remember nothing else. I brought you some kimchi fried rice, some bingure banana milk. You'll recognize the taste, but likely not the mix of hanja and hangul wrapped around the bottle. Nelson doesn't know about missing toes, the phantom strike of midnight pain mimicking frostbite in a fool's sunshine that won't stop fresh piss from icing. He doesn't know about missing friends, their not waking in the snow, them not getting up after the sniper, the artillery round, the soulless cold. In the world he occupies right now, despite the presence of family right here, these things are only beginning. Today at recess, you will not fear the airplanes coming to O'Hare and Midway. We'll study him and there another time. You won't think twice, perhaps not once, about the backfire and rattle of a truck. Until then, please pay attention. These are lessons Nelson wrote for you. If you get drowsy on this fine May day, I promise not to slap my hand, surely not the classroom yardstick, on the surface of your desk. The old man talks to his life on a day he'll always remember. The water is slow to warm this morning, or perhaps I'm impatient to get this day moving, to get this day over and done with. Our mattress and covers entreat me, but the world demands. Tired of barn mice, the tom curls around my ankles as I toast the last loaf you made, make too much bacon, break eggs into the pan. His old voice is kitten high as he asks when I became cook. I set your place on the table. 2 rough sawhorses I made when we were younger, and an old bedroom door we used beyond its normal life. A plastic cup chalice for wine, a rough napkin charger for wafers, a well-used white cloth for the resurrection. Why will we call this a wake when I know you won't? Sister Genevieve Marie. Sister Genevieve Marie was driving the day's hens up the rising street when I stepped out for coffee and a pastry this morning, moving them briskly towards the butcher's door to be readied for dinner at the convent. It's a treat to observe her way of keeping them together, with simple gestures and a gentle voice, perhaps convincing them she's showing the way to heaven and immortal life. Despite the teaching nuns and their rulers of my younger days, I'll miss her when I come back home. Her and the old women watching life around them from balconies and windows, comparing notes in the afternoon over dark, bitter coffee, accompanied by outraged rolls of their eyes and disparagingly pursed lips. Especially intriguing is Madame Toisseau, quietly rumored to have been fled from rather than widowed, a sharp-faced harridan whose happy, ancient, rough-coated dog of blended ancestries is thoroughly devoted to her. Ah, the characters I'll tell you about over the years. Solved. How tigers got their stripes. from a news headline of 2012. I'm not so sure I want to know. Accept life in my second century. Be Western to the core. Murder, mystery, and magic. After cutting a sunbeam, a photograph by Adam Dilston. The other children follow a snake's line around the small classroom, paper hats for uniforms and obedience. Above the scuff of worn shoes on bare dirt, they sing a doggerel in some foreign tongue, understanding only the teacher's smile. Her hair falling free of folded deadwood, Marie Claire has other business. Standing completely tall on a small stool in the shadowed furnace room, she raises rolling shears to find what might be revealed if she cuts the room's single shaft of sunshine in half during its fall from skylight to floor, if she tilts the universe by just a few degrees of adolescent curiosity. A deer wandered into the church down the street after Mass this morning, when only a handful of us were in the middle pews seeking sanctuary and solace from the world's condition. A majestic 12-point miracle moving calmly up the center aisle, halting at the foot of the stairs leading to the predella, stepping to his right and pausing as if listening, before doing the same to his left, then exiting as he came in without stopping to sip from the font. I don't know if he heard God speaking, but I believe we witnessed one of his miracles. Okay. 18 minutes.